My name is Katie Landry Guyton, and I am the Senior Service Hydrologist for the National Weather Service Office in Houston. You are listening to the 2023 FloodAware training. For those of you who don't know, the National Weather Service offices a SkyWarn training to help people become more aware of severe weather and how to spot severe weather when it is occurring, to be storm spotters for the National Weather Service to help us with being able to figure out what is happening on the ground and in the environment when we're stuck in the office trying to push out the watches, warnings, and advisories. It's also a great opportunity for people to better understand severe weather and to know how to respond and be safe during severe weather. Since we live in a flood-prone area in Southeast Texas, the National Weather Service has seen a need for a flood-specific training series, very similar to SkyWarn, and this is the FloodAware training that we have developed in order to achieve that. This series will be broken up into several parts in order to help you better understand more FloodAware importance and more tools and techniques in order for you to be able to recognize and respond to flooding events. Without further ado, we'll jump right in. So for those of you who don't know, the National Weather Service is within the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, which is also located within our parent agency of the Department of Commerce. Our mission is accomplished by multiple levels. You can see here on the left-hand side, we have national centers that are within the National Centers of Environmental Prediction. Many people know national centers such as the National Hurricane Center, the Weather Prediction Center, and the Storm Prediction Center. These national centers provide guidance for weather, water, and climate across the nation. Our mission is also accomplished by local offices within regional headquarters on the right-hand side. These field offices use national guidance in conjunction with local knowledge and expertise to issue watches, warnings, and advisories to keep you safe and help you be prepared. These field offices come in forms of weather forecast offices and river forecast centers, which we'll talk about in just one moment. We also have the Office of Water Prediction, which houses the National Water Center. This is also another national center that provides guidance for water across the nation. So we have 122 weather forecast offices across the country. The one that services Southeast Texas is the Houston Galveston office. That is where I am located. We also have river forecast centers. There are only 13 of these across the country. Now, the one that services Southeast Texas is the West Gulf River Forecast Center, and they are located in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the difference between a weather forecast office and a river forecast center? A weather forecast office is more focused on the actual watches, warnings, and advisories for the localized area. They're focused on putting out the actual forecasts, such as temperature, rainfall, and then also more specific forecasts on marine conditions, aviation, the TAF forecast that pilots use, as well as other warnings that help on the localized level. The river forecast centers put out the river forecast, also known as hydrographs, for all of the mainstem rivers within their jurisdiction. Those river forecasts are then shared with the local weather forecast offices to make the decisions on where they need to be putting out river flood warnings. Now, for the FloodAware training, we're going to break up these training series into different parts. They're going to be broken up in an outline of the importance of flooding and why should you care about flooding? Why should you take this training series? The next section will be on the flooding types and the causes. The following section will be on the National Weather Service flood products. So what do we issue in order for you to be able to know what type of flooding is expected and or occurring? We'll talk more in depth about river flooding itself and how you can better understand it and if you're at risk for river flooding. We'll talk about some of our partners, some flood safety tips. We'll also talk about reporting flooding and recognizing flooding, as well as some flood risks. So the importance of flooding. Why should we care? Flooding is deadly. If you look at the statistics from 2010 to 2021, the flood fatalities that have happened across the country look at the staggering number that occur in Texas. And look at the staggering number that occur in Southeast Texas within the Houston area. We've had 74 flood fatalities that have occurred within the latest decade. Now, where do some of those flood fatalities occur? The majority of them occur in vehicles. About 55%, if you look at the statistics from 2012 to 2023, occur in flooded vehicles, whether that's from underpasses, low water crossings. Those are going to be primarily the ones that are going to be problematic. 14% occur in the water itself. So whether somebody has gotten out of the vehicle and trying to escape, or someone is caught within a boat and the boat capsizes, different various reasons why somebody could perish in the water itself. And then 10% occur in the homes. This is a staggering number as far as where the flood fatalities occur, because this can also tell you where you need to focus on what to do if you are stuck in a flooded vehicle. So I have a video here. It's going to show you what can happen if your car gets stuck in an underpass that is flooded.
Chewy is America's #1 pharmacy. We contact your vet, get your prescription.
So as you can see, this gentleman drove into a flooded roadway that was connected to a flooded underpass. Fortunately, this gentleman was able to get out of his vehicle into safety. But as we saw in the statistics on the slide before, that not everybody is that lucky. Now, what should you do if you are stuck in a flooded vehicle? Number one, get out of the flooded vehicle. You want to make sure that you are getting out as quickly as possible because you don't know how quickly your car can be submerged. Two, if you don't know how to get out of a flooded vehicle, if you can't open your door, you want to bust open a window, you want to escape through the sunroof. If you need a tool to help you break through the window, you can take off your headrest that is behind your head and use the ends to poke through the window itself. Another thing you can do is if you do find yourself driving through an area that is flood prone, quite often, make sure that you get one of the window glass hammers that you can buy off of Amazon or you can get at some of your localized stores, but make sure that you have a way to be able to get out of your vehicle if you are stuck in a flooded vehicle. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you are aware of where you have flooded areas, flood prone areas, when you're going to have the potential for flooding in an area, and that you can make decisions to where you don't even get into a position of your car being stuck in a flooded road. Now, one thing I wanted to make sure that you're aware of is that, yes, we live in a flood prone area. We've had a lot of big recent floods. We've had the Memorial Day of 2015, Tax Day of 2016, Brenham 2016, and Harvey, of course, in 2017. You can see these pictures are really just mind-blowing as to the extent of flooding that can occur and the impacts that can come from this. But our flooding is not a recent problem. We've also had other historical floods, such as Tropical Storm Allison. We've had the 1994 and 1998 floods, and going back all the way to Tropical Storm Claudette, and even further than that. So this is not a new problem for us, but with the influx of people moving to the Houston area it is important to make sure people understand that we live in a flood prone area and that is not getting better.